That's another very strong Eggy map. He's going to be switching apparently into Isis. So he has actually gone through all three Egyptian gods. He started as Set, continued as Ra, and right now it's going to be Isis for him. But Poseidon is still sticking for original Jester. And let's see how they're gonna battle on a map like this. So Lure God Power is going to be used, of course, by... Yeah, well... It's always kinda tricky on Watering Hole where to cast it. Because if you cast it quite far away from, for example, your second hand, you could be even luring this hippo. Which I don't think is actually gonna happen. He's probably gonna be luring those lions and maybe some extra animals that are close by, like those extra lions, even more of them, and probably those gazelles. So it seems like that the hunt is quite far away from him overall. And well, otherwise the map is kind of funny. Good for the Egyptian because he's going to be easy for him to wall here, and last one there. Well, next to last one, there's going to be one needed in here as well. And well, Pegasus Rush, yeah, kinda, I also think so. And I kinda thinking that it actually might not be the worst kind of idea not to cast it next to TC, but actually next to your first granary. Because it will mean that your villagers don't need to move all that much. And if you're lucky, not sure if you need to be lucky if it's not going to be working all the time, you might even be sticking with them until advancing into Classical Age. And you could be just basically getting better echo through that. So I kind of think that usage of lure is not that thought through yet, even after all those 15 years since the game actually has been released. Anyway, we are just looking around the map. Gold is going to be safe for the blue player, and you can see that the second goal is going to be like on the other side of the map together with the elephants. This is actually pretty sucky. This is very horrible for original Jester. Well, this is gonna be tough. He will have to wall like God. He's gonna have to wall here, like about double, triple at least. Hope for the trade route from the top, that's nice for him. But he will have to protect himself with a ton of walls, not to be abused, as compared to his opponent who is having gold behind his base, as the Egyptian. So yeah, the ISIS basically won the lottery in here yet again. At least on the gold. Trade route is going to be very tricky. He's probably gonna try to go from the bottom with the elephants in there, but he will have to walk quite a bit, and he's going to be susceptible to some surprise landings, or landings like attacks and whatnot. Maybe even Hetyrois could be pushing through the gates and getting into the markets in there if he's gonna go through there. Because if he's attempting a market from here, that's gonna be absolutely horrible, not useful at all. So he's gonna be forced into this, and if original Jester scouts this properly, he should be exactly seeing what's gonna happen and what he needs to do to control the trade, which is always the biggest threat on a map like Watering Hole. So that's that, already pushing the priest back. That's going to be basically effectively blinding hot. Right now he doesn't see all that much. He hasn't been able to even finish with this one. So he hasn't seen the front TC of his that is basically far away. Even though it's protected by the woodline a bit in there, guarding the gold, that's pretty sweet for the Egyptian as well. It's far away and gonna be hard for him to capture. He will probably have to use Ancestors to get to it, I'm thinking. Otherwise, double gold in there. No, well, not anything all that awesome, because it's not really in power of the DC. So I don't really have opinion on the double gold in there. This gold is wide open. Some Pharaoh going for scouting, or what is he actually doing? That's very weird. That's very weird indeed. As finally the priest is coming back with some extras, with some extra priests in here, going to be finally discovering where the TC is, and that it is actually a very good one for him as well. Both from the tactical position, control the map, but also because of the gold mine, of course. Otherwise, 4 minutes almost, so probably going to be advancing forward. But this Pharaoh not empowering, that's really weird. That's really weird, and let's see if it's going to be really punishing him or not. Because that's an ISIS, I don't expect anything else that faster heroic at about 7:30. Up to 8 minutes, something between that. Should be 7:30 because he's on a very high hunt map, and it's usually far easier to make faster heroics on there. And well, you can see he got some Rhino, which was probably from the top. I think there was a bit more of them in there. And that results into pretty good hunting spots for him and good timing for the advance into the next age. Otherwise, he's already in the middle. So, of course, he has to be, because he needs to get it from these food sources before he is under attack. Then he's going to be left with some safe hunts behind his base. Even the lines are gonna come in handy. And he's already thinking about walling, making it happen, and that's exactly what he should be doing. Then gonna continue with this one, and hopefully with the one on the left as well, as he's getting a superb relic for Poseidon. 10% cavalry speed, that's the dream. That's the dream for every Poseidon player, and he has just now been dreaming it. What's the other relic actually? Scout, Pegasus, and whatnot LOS. Yeah, well, that's not gonna do anything significant, unfortunately, in this game. As walling is already coming up, and this is just too passive walling. This is too passive walling. I'm not sure if he actually sees and realizes the map on the right side. I don't think that he was there with the Pharaoh and Priest and whatnot, but yeah, right now he probably doesn't realize how problematic his trade is going to be if he walls this passively. He should already be trying to wall a bit more aggressively and trying to somehow make life difficult for the Radiant Hippicons that are definitely gonna come. They are going to be coming in, as there is going to be a bit of a defense on the tower, and well, just basically going for the wall here, I'm fully expecting. And then I'm really missing at least wall here, because he will need to protect this part of the map. And if he goes for just passive wall next to the granary, he could survive on that quite long, because he does have the save gold mine at the back. He does have the TC in there. But yet again, giving up such position as the TC in the middle, this is absolutely glorious for him. He couldn't have wished for a much better TC. Well, just the Poseidon could be really taking it from him. And once he does, then he's yet again going to be in a tough situation as far as TCs goes. As TC go, and that will result in tough gameplay for him. So first the Hippicons coming forward. They're of course not going to be finding anything all that significant. Or are they? Well, what's gonna happen now? Right now he's coming back. He also might be hoping going for the cranes. I'm not sure. But it would have been definitely risky for a faster heroic in Isis. Yes, armory coming up, so that's going to be of course faster heroic. Already coming onto about 8 minutes plus. So it's not going to be the very fastest. Not really fastest at all. As of course, he might be having even problems with efficiency, because he spawned right next to the tower, and unfortunately he didn't even help himself with the position of the help in there, or rather of the house in there. Not really. It'll be probably a bit difficult pathing for him once he casts this prosperity. I'll be wanting to have the villages at some other spot, and he's unfortunately even losing one to just the heroes of Theseus and Hippolyta. So they are doing their job from the very early stage of the game, and of course with some horses coming through, as unfortunately the walling hasn't been finished yet, as the Pharaoh is just walking around. Yeah, well, they are at the back of his base, and that means that he's not going to be safe. And once he casts the prosperity, I fully expect those Hippicons to be quite annoying right there and trying to disrupt the extra gold gathering from there. Otherwise, for some questions in the chat in here, well, Magic and Mista, well, especially Mista, he signed up, but unfortunately he missed the qualifications last weekend. Not really sure what was the reason for that. And Magic, he signed up and then he signed off. Not really sure why, but yeah, that's the case with both players, and they are not going to be participating in this tournament, even through the hefty prize pool of 500 euros overall. And it's, I think, 200 euros for the winner. That's pretty decent. But yeah, they're going to be passing on this pretty sweet prize pool in there. So apparently there's going to be wall coming up from original Jester in here. And yep, of course, this is no patch, because this is the original vanilla 1.10 with just the observer maps as the only different thing in here, allowing us to see the match live and stream it live. So the priest probably gonna wander too close to the town center sometime soon, right about now. And he is dying for it. And this villager is actually continuing praying. That's interesting. Not sure if it's intentional. We're gonna see a bit later, I'm thinking. But of course, this is much more important, because original Jester was able to keep the gate open like permanently, because the gate is not there anymore. And with the Hippicons already being present, he could be pretty annoying. Still no prosperity being cast by a hut. And he's already in the time where he should be already in the heroic cage, as he's dropping farms absolutely everywhere, just now getting plow and going for the barracks. So I'm kind of worried right about now for Hut that he might have not chosen the correct strategy for this game, and he might be really paying for it. Right now the monument at least trying to protect from the god powers, but yet again this is going to be very nicely going for Jester, because he's right now going for full on map control. He is going to be walled off absolutely everywhere, going for the gold on the left, going to be seeing even the right now the elephants, so going for the elephants, not the gold. And of course this will secure his trade route from the top. That's going to be absolutely sweet to the TC at the bottom. And he still does have plenty of hunt left. Across the map he can continue even with the rhinos on the left, and he doesn't need to switch into farms anytime soon, which is a huge boon. Huge boon to him, because he doesn't need to waste resources on the farms. So Aphrodite is for him, so he's even faster into the heroic age than his opponent. Let's see how that's gonna work out, as another barracks are just now being built, so apparently it's going to be a bit of a classical fight for Hut. I'm just gonna check into the resources, into food. Egyptian, he is 600, dropped to 500, rather dropped to 100. It's kind of weird, he didn't even get into 700, or rather 800 for the heroic. But of course it seems like neither did his opponent, so it's going to be a bit fishy in there with the numbers. And yep, exactly right now as I was expecting, Nephthys just clicked in, and that really looked like that Hut was advancing into the next age, and it was just somewhat screwy, the resource counts in there for some reason. But yeah, that was that. Heroic ages are in, but unfortunately of course for Hut, original Jester took this super important TC in the middle of the map. There is very limited chances actually to take this TC, especially through the Kataskopos right now scouting it. But he's going quite adventurously for the goal in the middle. Unfortunately, he's gonna be disrupted, as unfortunately for him, yep, right now original Jester has noticed what's gonna happen in there and guessed it, and Ancestors are going to be definitely needed to somehow make sure that this is going to be coming up. Right now, I'm not all that certain that even the Ancestors are going to be enough. Right now you can see medium Hippicons clicking in. But apparently so. So Migdol up, right next to the large gold mine, and he's going to be probably soon continuing into the TC, still having some kind of chance. And yep, this is the extra, this is exactly the strength of the Ancestors, and they are quite powerful like this. So trying to disengage from the battle, that's exactly what you need to do, but Fortress is up, which will be producing Petroboli pretty soon, together with Archer Range, some Toxots probably, we have seen them last game around, and last time around as well, as apparently Theseus and Hippolyta, and together with them Atalanta, are trying to get rid of the Pharaoh of the villages as well, not allowing the siege works, and with, of course, even some lions getting after the villages, yeah, helping in the fight in there. It's going to be quite tough to deal with, as Prodromai are going to be getting rid of the cavalry because it's in very low numbers, but the chariot archers, they are going to be a bit better units. Still, I really think that the Prodromos are not the correct choice in here. He should be really going full on Hippicons, because why not? He should be having enough resources for that. I would be fully expecting, well, he does have at least pickaxe. Would be expecting shaft mine at about 13 minutes already, since he's heavy on gold with the Hippicons and whatnot. But he does have some extra piggies scouting at the back, potentially letting him know when the market might be coming up. But it's already up on the right side, but without any protection like the walls. That might be just following a bit behind, as Prosperity is just now being cast, and fortunately no empowerment, but still should be strong enough in there. Should be still strong enough to give him everything that he needs for potentially the TC or whatever he wants to do right now. But it's looking quite grim for him, because the Migdol is probably gonna be lost. I don't expect he's going to be having enough push to actually go through all those Hippicons, and even those extra Toxos that are going to be coming up. It's not a bad army. It's not a bad army per se, but I don't think it's going to be enough if actually this is going to be played properly. And luckily for him, he does have the monument, so he cannot use the curse. Yep, he would so love to use the curse right about now. I'm 100% certain about it, but he doesn't even need to do so, because he does have heroes against the Scorpion Man, and his army of the Hippicons is just too strong for the Chariot Archers and the Camels to handle. And well, Migdol is off, which will mean that he will have to rebuild it somewhere else, a bit close by to the trade, because he needs to protect it at all costs, because once he doesn't, this is going to be one of his last goals, as this one is way too unsafe and he has no access into the middle, because it is fully controlled by original Jester. Looking like this is going to be decided by Gold Star here again, which is exactly how games against Egyptians should be decided. So that's of course well played by the Greek player, and well, yeah, the Hippicons Massing Hippicons, that's of course gonna be working towards this advantage, especially with the better cavalry speed. The Mithril horseshoes are just such a strong relic, because from 555 speed they are at 605, which is even faster than the cavalry, which is supposed to be a bonus against Hippicons for them. They can outmaneuver them. Of course, spearmen are going to be slower, and chariot archers as well. So, yep, all the cards are right now in original Jester's hand, and it's up to him to actually place them on the table correctly. So yep, army is getting stronger, especially of course with the population limit advantage, even though that's not going to be lasting for longer. As Hut is already coming for the second TC, but I'm still really missing the walls. They should be coming up, otherwise it's still wide open to potential abuse. But yeah, this Migdol does make sense. It's close to the town center, he will be trying to deny it to his opponent. As original Jester, he does have the ceasefire potentially for it, but I don't think it will be all that worthwhile, because he doesn't really need the TC. He just needs to make sure that it's not going to be coming for the opponent, and apparently he's going to be building it anyway. Yep, just a bit too late in there as Curse was cast at the top, and it gave, wow, plenty of piggies. 3, 5, 9 units actually just turned into piggies. Oh man, that's a massive curse right there. That's a pretty massive curse that basically annihilated like more than half of the army, it seems like, of his opponent. That definitely worked for him. He does have enough army getting rid of the Scorpion Man and enough Petroboli. He should be just right now trying to move forward and just basically even maybe screw this, just go into the middle of the base. If he can stop this economy, it will definitely force Hut to defend it, and if he didn't, well, he would be just losing all that easier. Anyway, at this time it looks like that the battle will be maybe even switching to the right, because Hut definitely is interested in switching the battlefield from his home base into the side base. Definitely makes a lot of sense. Well, this will be definitely too late for original Jester. This will be definitely way too late, as, yep, the siege tower is already in place, and he will have to move all the units there pretty soon, because even though he's doing a good job right now pushing forward in there exactly as he should be, unfortunately this is a bit of an issue, and even could be costing him the town center if he's not careful, because war elephants are going to be a bit of an issue in there with all the army that Red is having. Otherwise, gold miners potentially in danger. In there. So far not really seeming like that, as we are looking at this red army getting rid of the town center. But still, we mustn't forget that those Petrobolite together with the Hippaspis in the middle are just going to be wrecking the military buildings. But what right now he could be doing a bit better, killing the houses. Just house your opponent. He's already going to be having a big population limit on the right, so if he cannot really produce anything in here, forcing him into mercenaries, which he might not even be able to actually support at this stage, because I would be expecting they would be already coming out if he could. Well, originally just lost the TC, and for the moment it's going to be 2 versus 2, and definitely right now looking very well on the right for Hut, even though he doesn't have upgrades apparently. Yeah, he doesn't have anything. Oh, he doesn't have line upgrades, but he does have armory upgrades for himself. Going to be trying to steal the TC for himself, which might really be working for him, and that will of course prompt back TC capture right now by original Jester to get back on his feet in there. So it seemed like that actually we might be looking at a bit of a comeback by Hut. It looked basically fully in hands of original Jester, but yeah, well, it's not proving all that easy as it seemed like. And of course right now there's going to be a bit of a chance for Hut to push for the TC, and if he can get it, then the game is going to be very, very wide open. But the Nemean Lions are a bit of a problem, because of course no priests, no Pharaoh, and just right now finally Temple coming up, just a bit too slow though. Okay, there is, these elephants are going to be pretty good tanks against the Nemean Lions. It's of course something that is gonna be working for him, and he's trying to deny DC at least by the villages, and going to be probably using ceasefire to take it for himself. At this stage, with his army in there, his army missing, you can see he's not really having enough units, just now sending everything onto the right. He has lost the Petroboli and whatnot in the front. Going to be pushing forward in there. This is definitely looking like trying to capture it by the ceasefire, and he probably should. He probably should, because if he can take it, and deny it and basically secure it by some extra military buildings all around it, then it's going to be quite hard for HUD to penetrate. And it's of course very close to the trade route, which is still wide open and still accessible for original Jester from the bottom, and he can do whatever he wants with those markets, and a bit later potentially even with the Migdol once he gets extra population limit in there. But he's definitely hoping that he doesn't have to use the ceasefire, it seems like, as the full brunt of the battle is right now going to be bore by this side of the battlefield. So of course he's just right now moving forward, and it seems like the army is going to be good enough. All the mediums having copper shields, definitely good defense against the Migdol, and on top of the chariot archers in there. But this Peltas, yes, thank you. Peltas against chariot archers, that's such a strong unit, but you need to be rather targeting them properly, and if you are going to be absolutely shredding them. Absolutely shredding them, and it's something that's not really seen in Age of Mythology the Titans at all, because players usually don't have such a great micro, to be honest. They just micro here and there, but if they could be microing properly, then Peltas are most definitely the correct unit against chariot archer spam, and chariot archers are spammed in basically every Egyptian game. So yep, that's a unit that's not really used, even though it's quite powerful when you know how to use it. And usually it's replaced by some units that don't really need all that much care and are slightly less effective, but they are not really that worried about fighting other units, because of course Peltas are not that great, but rather against other units. So you need to use them properly as any counter unit, like for example Prodromai. Prodromai are also kind of sucky unit, but if you use them against, for example, elephants, then they are super strong. We are also looking at dogs on the left, with the 4 TCs being finished, of course, for Jester, so of course he does have extra population limit for this part of the battlefield. So he's going to be probably annoying, and this TC, is it in range? I might be thinking that if he researches naval auxiliaries, that it could be. The researched actually siege boats could be rather having enough range for that. That's what I wanted to say. So let's see, we're probably gonna be witnesses to that pretty soon. Heavy Hippicons finally. Oh man, they are going to be making ton of difference with the copper mail in there as well. And unfortunately for the opponent, I'm expecting he's going to be having just some armory upgrades. Yes, he does. The line upgrades, they are so sorely missed. So sorely missed. And of course, if he is going to be relinquishing this Migdol, he's going to be relinquishing not only the trade, but also the gold. And that's the very last gold that he has available. He has run out of the one at the back, and the ones in the middle are definitely not in his power. So unfortunately, if he loses this position, then he's kinda toastish. So this is going to be where his last and most definitely needs to happen. But with all the heavy peltas and even toxods in there, everything is heavy right about now. For blue, he might be just on the verge of coming forward for the very exciting and very important battle in here. Yeah, Siege Tower against Petrobolos, probably not gonna work all that much, because it's kinda slowish. But the elephant definitely working in there, and even though they are killing the trade in there, they are not doing good enough. They are not doing good enough against all the chariots that he should be targeting with the peltas, but unfortunately isn't. Anyway, still moving forward in there. Moving ever forward with the Hippicons and what of the replacements in there, with the Migdol being gone. Is there going to be one being rebuilt? Apparently not. Ah, yeah, right now. That's already a bit too late, because he's just now replacing the military buildings, which will of course result into pretty huge problems, because once he loses those units, he's going to be wide open, which will result in those villagers having to retreat, and well, the trade would be in absolutely deadish. Yeah, well, please, peltas chariots. That's where you should be shooting, not into the elephant. Not luckily, elephant didn't have such a long lifespan. But yeah, that could have been already going much better, but still, it seems to be going well enough. And where's actually the pharaoh? Ah, just now dying, that's horrible. And he's going to be waiting for the second, or rather for the reincarnation for quite some time. So that could have helped him in the battle. And unfortunately not gonna happen. He at least did finish with the extra Migdol, but still the trade is right now compromised. It's going to be up to the gold mine in there to give him some extra resources. But looking at all the units in here coming forward, with even right now the docks being get ready, so far I don't see any siege boats, as market is apparently being replaced, and another dock is there. Maybe looking for some transport onto the other side, not sure. But of course, the villager from original Jester is already waiting there and will be scouting for his master to let him know what's gonna happen in there. Anyway, still pushing forward. Still pushing ever forward in there, as the Petroboi are going to be quite easily getting rid of the buildings that are still annoying in here. And he needs to still support some army. I'm right now thinking that actually the downtime is going to be a result of Mythical Age. Let's check the post game. He dropped from about 1300 to here. I'm kind of thinking that he might be, because this is not really reliable as we have seen with the advance into the Heroic Age. Yeah, that it might be advancing into the next age. He didn't spend all that much of a food. Just a few hit beacons right now coming in, so there's no reason why he would be dropping so significantly in there. I'm really expecting that it's going to be maybe even some upgrade. It could have been into heavy hoplites. Could have been, as he's having very nice upgrades in there, whereas his opponent is having just normal chariot archers. Good upgrades from the armory, but still the line upgrades are a whole lot more important. And unfortunately that's something that is so far missing. With the gold and inevitably running out, just 2,500 left, and still the blue player pushing ever so forward. So another trade route, Son of Osiris right now being cast, still nothing done around the water in here unfortunately, but the dogs are still very much present in there from the villager by original Jester, so if there was some kind of surprise to be had by Hut, it's going to be countered fairly easily in there. So Son of Osiris is going to be wrecking a bit, but unfortunately not saving the Migdol. The Migdol is gone just about now, so goodbye that, and he's gonna have to rebuild somewhere else, and where the somewhere else gonna be? Somewhere inside his base I'm thinking, or he's gonna run out of gold soon. So yeah. He has been blocked from this path, which will result into boats being in here and probably trying to disrupt the trade route already, with the Triremes of course. Already with the Triremes going forward in there. So that's that. And of course Son of Osiris trying to run away and trying to maybe somehow keep the Migdol from falling down, but it's probably not going to be that easy. Just gonna be waiting for all the Petroboli. Come on, move forward. Move forward. You don't see your opponent resigning yet. He's still going to be staying in the game. Son of Osiris is quite a good and strong unit. And of course, he's in the Mythical Age and you aren't. So potentially there could be some kind of tricks that he could be pulling on you. But I don't really expect that all much, to be completely honest in here. So upgrades, not bad ones. Potentially the Hendax could have been better, of course, because he was producing tons of chariot archers. You would be expecting he could be having some extra upgrades in that. And for the opponent, he's having basically all of them. Even golden apples for better efficiency of his economy, and it's definitely paying off. Yeah, well, not all those. They seem to be bugged. You can see those twitches on them. They are probably wanting to get the gold, but unfortunately aren't allowed to do so. As right now, Mythical Age is up with the plenty, and it's going to be into Colossi. Well, he didn't want to go for Earthquake at this stage, I think, because he basically knew he was against Isis, so he's not gonna be casting it against any kind of base, so why bother? But of course, another Migdol down, and it's going to be probably waiting for the Son of Osiris to die at this stage. And that might be signaling the end of the game for the red player, as of course he's right now going to be facing problem with the second trade route as well, because of the boats in there, as they are just traveling across the shoreline, trying to get rid of all of that gold income for the Egyptian player. Yeah, even stone in the head is not going to be killing Son of Osiris, of course. Medium spearman, that's not going to be enough just yet. Just yet, as of course the Petroboli are quite inching forward and going to be destroying any kind of attempt at trying to pick up another Migdol in here. Yeah, right now GG, and Hut is recognizing that this game is over, and unfortunately for him, he did have a pretty good map. He could have taken this TC in the middle, or probably could have, if he went with Ancestors and whatnot, as he built the Migdol in there, and that would have been really working for him. Both the TC and the gold could have been covered by Migdol exactly in the position of the fortress, and that would have been a whole lot different game. Alright, let's check into the post game, as original Jester, after initial loss, is inching into the victory in here and leading 2-1, and we are in best of 5, so maybe we are just going to be one game away, or maybe Hut is gonna be making a comeback, who knows. the games are quite interesting, and definitely comebacks could be happening in them and in the whole match as well. Well, not much game-changing stuff in here. You can see the stronger economy from original Jester basically the whole time, leading into his advantage. And yep, GG.